is it about the Whitecaps that was so difficult to break down?
Yeah, I think this Whitecaps team is very cohesive. Certainly, the link through that central spine with Kubas and the two centre backs, the central and the right, and then Brian White, Ryan Gold. I think that spine is a lot more difficult to break down when you actually face it. When you look at the tactical footage, you can see the opportunities, but when you get out there live, yeah, you see the ground that Kubas can cover. I thought he was a real problem for us tonight. And then for us, I think just cohesively, we're still developing as a group. Players are coming back and trying to get that cohesion, consistency across the squad, and we were just loose in that first half. I thought the first half, we started the game quite well. A little bit of a mistake that led to a goal. I thought we were right there. Then we had a spell where, our pressing, we just needed to get tighter. And, we fixed that, I think, for the first 15, 20 of the second half. And then the transition goal just killed us. I mean, that goal from Gold is the moment that's going to put you in a position where it's going to be difficult to come back from. So, I think fair play to the Whitecaps there. They're a very good team. I mean, they've been together under Vanny now for a good 2.5 years, and there's real chemistry there.
You talked about that consistency and how that was a little bit lacking tonight. Do the injuries that you have faced early this season contribute to that at all?
Yeah, I mean, of course, you go through a pre-season with a squad that are consistently playing, and they go into the first few matches playing consistently, and you lose some players, but that's normal in football. I think you've got to accept that you are going to lose players through injury. I mean, we've had a bit of bad luck at the beginning of the year, but at the same time, you've got to close the gap on that as a team. We lost, I think, 6 players and were able to get a result against Atlanta. And that's up for us, the next man up. And tonight, it was a balance of everything. Some of the tactical elements we have to get better at. Making sure that, coming into a place like this, we're more disciplined with our set, defensively. And I think we just got too loose. And that's on the coaching staff, that's on the players at the same time. But we'll get back. It stings, the loss, but we'll get back, review, and get back at it. And I think that's the mentality we've instilled in this group, that this season's going to be a tough season, there's no doubt. But it's a tough season for every team. They are going to have their moments with injuries. And for us, I think we're only going to get better.
Last one from me. Can you talk a little bit about what you've learned about your group, not just tonight, but over the last couple of games here?
Well, they'll keep fighting. That's really important to see. Like, there's no quit in the team. The goals that the Whitecaps scored, 2 set-piece goals, the transition goal from Brian, from Davey. There's a little error there, and, the transition from Ryan Gold. So, I've said this to my group, where we're self-destructing in big moments, and, it happened in the previous game, and tonight we've done something similar. So if we don't learn from that, we aren't going to keep progressing in that Eastern Conference. And, I think that's the big step we've got to take. We've got to look at those moments and, how we set ourselves up to be harder to beat as a starting point. We were probably the best defensive record in the league, coming into the last 2 games, and then conceding 7 goals in 2 matches. It starts there. And that's where we'll be starting our inquest and starting our tactical review, and looking to strengthen coming into a tough match against Charlotte.
Thank you, Gemma. We'll move next to John Molyneux.
Thanks, Nick. John, were you happy with the effort tonight?
I think there was an effort from players that I want to see the effort from, for sure. I mean, when you look at a DP like Federico Bernardeschi, who's putting a big shift in, Jonathan Osorio putting a big shift in, Kevin Long putting a big shift in. You know, players in that central spine were putting a shift in, but you know, that was something that was said in the huddle afterwards. You know, one of the senior players was pushing that effort piece, and I think that's an important thing to raise. I think effort is easy to target. We've finished, you know, top of the rankings in our work rate in MLS across the last two matches, only seconded to the Whitecaps. So this week we'll review those data points and see if the effort was there. Sometimes it's about clarity, sometimes it's about intensity, sometimes it's about when you've pressed lost causes, you don't have the juice then to get set to attack with that same verve and power and explosiveness. So I think, you know, to question the players' effort is a starting point to review. But for me, I didn't feel it was an effort attitude element to this tonight. It was more the clarity on when to get set defensively and to hold that line and to be tight. And then those, you know, with it being a derby game, we were just too open, which left a lot of lost cause chasing in that first half, particularly after the first 20 minutes. So I think, you know, effort was there, but they started to lose the energy levels required to maintain a tempo.
We go next to James Crossy.
Thanks, Nick. Hello, John. I was just going to ask you about the message in the huddle, so if there's anything more to that you can share, please do. But that third goal from Gauld, is that just something that comes with taking risks, or is getting beat on a counter off a corner like that something that will get your attention?
Yeah, I mean, it's got to get our attention, because if you look at, you know, last week, the big moments from KC were very similar. You know, set piece free kick, and they get a 1v1 against our keeper. Tonight, it's the same. And again, it's just attention, it's focus from the tactical and technical staff who have that responsibility to just make sure those lines are always set and organised against a team like the Whitecaps, who are just brilliant in transition. So for me, it was disappointing. I mean, the goals we conceded were very disappointing tonight. You know, from a recycle on a set piece. I mean, that's a disappointing goal that, you know, Fafa, who's 5 foot whatever, you know, is able to get between two defenders and score a header. I mean, that should never happen. So, you know, these are the things we will look at. We'll look at collectively. I know the players are disappointed with those pieces. And again, you know, our focus in our training's got to come back to the clean sheets and that mentality. That's where Toronto FC was at its best, you know, when we were able to manage those distances and keep the team tight, as well as manage those defensive transition moments.
John, you knew the task you were taking on when you took this job a fifth of the way into the season. Are you above where you thought you would be, or are you pretty much where you expected to be at this point?
Well, up until last week, we were well above, you know, where the expectations were and set. The goals the team had set we were right on track. I think this week's that's been a bit of a body blow that we're going to have to take. It stings. Not only it's the Whitecaps, it's the Canadian derby, or one of them, but it's just that little bit of, okay, this is the real test now for this group. Can we reset, regroup this week? Can we focus on the growth areas, the learnings that we can take from the game, and can we go into the Charlotte game with a different intensity, a different mindset, which I think for us has got to be on the road. You have to be hard to beat. It's the starting point. And I think, again, just tonight, when you look at coming off track, we've come away from home, and I felt we were just a little bit too gung-ho trying to press the Whitecaps when we could have let the game come to us. I think conceding the first goal early might have sort of triggered a feel like we've got to get after this game, but I think we could have been way more patient and committed to a set structure.
And just to ask something totally different, because we haven't spoken for a couple of months, just how proud are you of Jay at the moment? He's made the breakthrough with the Whitecaps. He's had a couple of call-ups. He's on the cusp, maybe of the first team, been at a World Cup, coming back from that injury. Just how proud are you of him?
Yeah, I'm always a proud dad. Yeah, you know, his journey keeps us sane in this mad world. I'm really proud to come back off the injury, and then to be able to get on the bench for the Caps. That was a big step for him. Just showed a bit of his resilience and fight, but he's still got a long way to go. But yeah, I mean, on nights like this, tough nights like this, you're able to turn to your family and obviously see and get something from, whether it's my daughter who jumps horses or my son who scores goals. So yeah, thanks for the question, because it's lovely being back with the family.
One more here.
And for our final question, we'll go back to John.
Thanks, Nick. John, why did you decide to go back to Sean Johnson rather than stick with Luca Gavrin?
Yeah, good question, Neil. Sorry, John. It's with Sean, he is the number one at the club. I think Luca has done a terrific job. For Sean, he has a presence on and off the field. For him, he's one of the key leaders in this group, and it's a young team, a very young team, as you know, with how we've unfolded that roster, and a new team as well. A lot of different faces, from Gomez to Longstaff, Flores. So players like that who know the TFC, DNA, players who've seen a lot and experienced a lot in football, are important to this team in the preparation, in the conversations that I had prior to games, that can bring experience in big moments like derby matches. So, that was the rationale behind it, just to bring, again, the first team keeper back to the first team and bring his experience to these moments. I can't really knock on his door tonight. I think leaving him 1v1 with Ryan Gold, and again 1v1 with Brian White off that first goal, and then the set pieces where we're just not defending on the back post. I think Sean, what he was asked to do, he did very well tonight, and we've got to ask questions in front of Sean Johnson tonight, and ultimately on the coaching staff as well.